Hey everybody. Yeah, looks like we're good. All right. So to start off today, this first part probably won't take too long, and I'll probably come look at these last couple buildings I want to get done. But I need to turn the music down slightly on my side. There we go. Apologies for last stream. I had set everything up because I was going to stream a video after Ali had stopped streaming because he was having connection issues. Like a countdown before the stress test. And I got everything set up, and then I think Robert and Goblin both put streams up, so I was like, screw it. But I turned the music up and muted myself. I remembered to unmute myself, thankfully. I just did not remember to turn the music back down to its normal level. So if the music was a little loud last time, that was why. Alright. Hey, Bullcatcher, how's it going? Let's see, maps, and we'll do this with Shaded Dunes. Hey, Chaz. Not new zone yet, Chaz, but I'm trying to get some stuff set up for new zones that we are going to be doing some meetings on soon. So I'm gonna get them set up in the get a couple zone scenes set up that are just gonna be blank essentially, and then add them to the stuff that needs to get added to the project. But first, I kind of want to add in a text, if I can remember where I created that before. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm just going to make a real quick compass direction so that it's very apparent when you come in what direction you're in. Is that as large as it gets? Okay. So let's see. Talit. Talhak? I butchered your name, but welcome. Welcome to the chat. Hey Justin, how's it going? Currently McDonald's, paying my respect to the McChicken. Nice. Hey Jorgoth, how's it going? Boric1425. Welcome to the stream. Love these streams, or welcome to the chat, anyways. Love these streams. Makes workday go by so much quicker listening to them. Awesome. Glad you appreciate them. And they help your workday pass a little bit faster. Hey Quickson, how's it going? McChicken and tomato with lettuce is good. Makes you feel classy. Robert Helsinki. Oh, that's you, Robert, right? You switched your name. I think I remember hearing that in Sean's stream yesterday. What you doing today? So we are planning another dungeon. We haven't had our meeting on it yet, but I'm doing a little bit of prep work for it today. And I'm going to be deleting a lot of the stuff out of whatchamacallit here. Out of Shaded Dunes. And turning it into basically like a fresh template zone. Just to make it easier. Excuse me. Getting off the ground when that time comes. It's not going to give me the... Oops. Helps if I could actually type. The dangerous thing, letting the dyslexic environment artist type stuff. Just be aware. Except you guys will never see this. This is literally just gonna be in here and then deleted once the zone is ready to go. Okay, so we've got that. What is this? Those do not need to be in here. That doesn't need to be in here. Shaded Dunes needs a lot of cleanup in terms of its hierarchy. Dust effect will stay. Weather controller will stay. What is that? Game object. I don't know what that is, so we'll leave it for now. Lights should be my lights from... Yeah, I think that's just the entire lighting group, so... We will... Yeah, it's the entire lighting group. Okay, we're gonna have to be careful. Because I don't want to get rid of the moons and stuff. That would require all of that to get pasted back in. So this stuff can go... That is temp lighting. This is that. And now you guys can kind of see why I wanted to set this up as a template. So this, every time we create a new zone, I don't have to do this over and over and over again. I should have done this last time when I was doing Wormsbane, but I did not. I guess I could just copy those stuff into, but all right, I think everything else is good to remove. Good to remove. Oh, actually, I forgot this version has the... For anybody who's newer to the project, that's actually what the original Fallen Pass model looked like. I forgot that was in there and somewhat hidden. Granted, all of the Fallen Pass stuff is gonna be replaced. Okay. Zone lines will keep. Generic ambience. That's gonna be one of Robert's. Robert, here's a good question for you. Do you want me just to create a sub-scene in all of the scenes for sound? Or do you want just like a section inside the hierarchy for sound? Leave the ocean. I'll leave the generic ambience in here for now. I'll get rid of that. Oops, let's keep the cat room. Let me get back to chat real quick. Let me delete these real fast. Bon Land. Welcome to chat. Caught a live stream finally. Or I caught a live stream fun. Usually watch the VODs at 2x speed. Nice. I won't be speaking as fast then. I got so tired of living off rice. I got paid on a small check to keep me alive. Sorry I missed the stress test. But it looked like it was pretty fun. I had a good time. Crazy time, but a good time. And it seemed like most people had a positive takeaway up from it, so that's awesome. Very cool. Okay, hear me out. New dungeon idea. Teenage Mutant Ninja Ashira. Liz Kimber, welcome to chat. Oops, and Silence, thank you for the follow. And Durgoth, I will get EQ Guesser up in a second. I envy people who can design levels and not make it look like a kid did it. Everyone but me. It just takes a bit of trial and error and time, a lot of time. What's the level range for this dungeon? Is it parallel newbie dungeon? Again, we haven't had our actual design discussion on it yet. The last time I heard, I think it's a low to mid range dungeon, but with some higher level elements in there as well. I believe is the plan. I see it. Good afternoon. H-U-N-E-D. Okay, EQ guesser. Let me get to the chats and then we'll do that first round EQ guesser. Random gameplay question. As you plug along and it's quiet, is the mechanic in the game already or planned on having names spawn randomly off? Spawns like Jackal, like King Jackal, Rattlesnake, name Rattlesnake. We didn't grind too hard, but noticed in Wormsbane the named were all on placeholders. Love being able to grind. So yeah, there are named placeholders in the dungeon specifically. Like they have very specific spots they're going to spawn. There's also a few named that just kind of spawn generically in volumes, I believe. One of the examples that I can think of off the top of my head is Night Terror, I believe is the name. It's a named bat that spawns in the not the graveyard, the necropolis little like newbie yard in front of the Concourse of Souls. So we have both of those, and I think there's a couple others spread around. I just can't think of them all off the top of my head. Yeah, stress test was a positive experience. I appreciate reading the technical bits shared by Elite today. Yeah, it was nice to see that he shared it, so I don't have to worry about accidentally letting some of those stats slip on stream. Patience probably plays a factor. Yeah, it does. It's a lot of. So, you know, from level design, depending on what you're doing, you obviously want to look around at other things that are like, you know, if you're doing a shooter game and a first-person map, you kind of want to play some shooter games and, you know, kind of get the flow down. You know, if you're doing something more like this, I look at a lot of classic EQ zones. I look at a lot of other, you know, just kind of classic MMO dungeons and things like that as well. To kind of get that shape language, that flow, that feel, and, you know, try to catch the essence of it, I guess. But from there, it's just, it comes down to a lot of just iteration. Enchanter Starter Crust was challenging and doable. Speaking to the guards and using the sun for direction was great. Sadly, the Spellblade quest wasn't doable due to the Stairs of Doom. That was my bad on the stairs. I totally broke them just before. You could actually get up there without taking those stairs. You just had to jump on the railing to run up it. But the stairs that ate everybody, I do apologize. I had fixed it prior to the start, but we did not get it in. So let me grab up EQ Guesser and we'll play around before I forget. Lord Capsu spawned at the end and it was terrifying fun. Yeah, Nick and I thought that would be a fun way to send you all off. A memorable. Oh, this is this is somewhere in Crystal Caverns, isn't it? Hey, Captain Codwell, how you doing? Or have Paytas warp you. Yes, I did do that a couple times. It wasn't the going up, it was the going down to some guy after. Oh, was there another spot that was broken that I'm not aware of? Chaklar, welcome to excuse me, welcome to the chat. And Abago71, I'm not sure, I probably butchered that. But welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, that's what I was guessing, Zugan. It's Crystal Caverns somewhere. I should actually know this because I've been running around the newer versions. Because that's like the river. Oop. down there. Ah! Actually, I've been running around several versions of Crystal Caverns. I guess it's already been about a month since I was playing live. The month flew by. I think it is... So this is the Coldane town. Is it right here? But I don't see a bridge. Is it just not drawn on the map? Just need to guess. Ow, it was right there. Maybe that wasn't water. Maybe it was just ice below it, and I was... my brain was throwing me off thinking it was water. Right zone, though. EQ is fun. I feel awesome when I get it right, but I get it wrong way more. I've done pretty decently. Oh, this is Butcher Block. That's an easy one. Ah! Where are we? Now where are we in relation to everything else? I think we're at the 1. Boom. What? Ugh, I hate when you do that, when you get it like dead on and it still doesn't give you all the points. Doing great, bro. Just watching at work. Nice. Thanks. Thanks for making a sweet game. Looking forward to it. Had fun with the stress test this past weekend. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you had fun. Is that a RuneScape steel arrow as you point to the image? Hold on. That? I'm not sure. I think this is Western Waste. That's the entrance to Sirens, right? And then, yeah, that's the obelisk. This is Western Waste. Like somewhere around here. Six units away, and you still didn't give me a full. Drives me crazy. Couldn't give me the full 5,000 points. This is permafrost somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Nope, not permafrost. Everfrost. There we go. Yeah, I think that's it. Number 2. Boom. That one I got 5,000 on. Yeah, if you want 5,000, you got to earn it by placing it on the exact pixel. This is Befallen, isn't it? Pretty sure this is Befallen. Where is Befallen on the map? There we go. There we go. That's a pretty solid game. That Crystal Caverns water thing threw me off, but I think it's probably one of my better games on stream. Tell me you've played too much EQ. Telling me you've played too much EQ. There is a distinct possibility. Although, honestly, I didn't play a lot. I didn't go to Befallen a lot. I just know what it looks like. I was not, did not group there often. Alright. I think Geo I can delete everything. There's two. This one doesn't look like it has a component, so I'm gonna delete that one. And we've got this. Create an empty parent. Sounds. Sounds, lights, geo, zone lines. I can delete the zone lines, probably. Be a good idea to do that, because there's a lot of zone lines in the zone. Leave one of each. There is a zone line to... Oh, you know what? I think I blocked it, so I don't think anyone could actually get to there. But there is a zone line. First, if you're in here, there is actually a zone line to Twilight Isles. It's just, I think, beyond what the bounds of the zone is. So it's you can't get to it right now. Okay, so we'll delete out those other ones. The water's in here. Put the cat room at the top. Put that up high. Don't know what this game object... It's empty. I think I can get rid of it. I think it's probably just a default. Their lighting, sound, temp compass. That doesn't have anything in it right now. Zone lines. That should go into sound. Water. And then geo. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to save this as... zone template. Liz Kimber, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Are we still on one continent? Yes, there is only one continent in the game currently. And the plan is really to kind of stick a lot of stuff in that one continent. We want to try as we go forward with content as well. We will expand out to other areas, but we want to try to keep the content, like new content coming into old areas, to keep areas relevant. And, you know, so let's say, you know, 5 years after release, the original zones aren't all just barren. We want to try to design the world with a forward forward thinking approach that keeps stuff relevant longer, and that you're moving around familiar areas, but then there's new stuff being added off of them. And that's part of the reason why we're building up layers of civilization. And you have all the deep zones as well, so that there's lots of things that will be discovered over time, essentially. I hate when Compass is wrong during the quiz. Yeah, I am not a. I stopped using the compass because it was constantly messing with me. So I've got that. I'm gonna save another one. This will be the name of the new dungeon. And it's actually... Hold on. Sorry, I'm doing some stuff in my other window that you guys can't see. Apologies. I don't remember where the path of all this stuff is. Okay, I just want to make sure all the stuff that's in here. I'm going to make a folder with the name on it as well. Create new folder. Do another one for another zone. So customer service zone. So basically like where the GMs and guides and stuff can go. Which I can knock that one out pretty quick. That doesn't need a ton of stuff in it. And then I don't think that we've actually decided whether we're doing it yet, but I'm gonna make one for... We've talked about potentially doing like an offline tutorial, so I'll just put one in there so that if we decide we want to do it, I can just start building into the scene. What was I doing? Oh yeah, this. So got those. And now I have to do some of the other stuff that I haven't done in like a year, so this will be fun. Let me bring up the database. Sorry, this is all off screen, so you guys can't see everything. I need to go to the zone panel. If I could remember where that is. Oh, found it. Okay. So... cool. All right. So we have a table here that we gotta basically put in all this. God damn it. All the zone information. Sorry, it's not snapping nicely. But yeah, we got to put in all the zone names and stuff like that. So I get to do that now. If I could remember everything I literally just did. Hold on, let's bring this up. Maps. Okay. Add new. And then eat cult. Don't ever rely on me for the pronunciations of anything. Why is this? I have to do it all in lowercase. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna leave all of the spawn-in location default currently because I don't have anything. Duplicate intro. Oh shit! Someone already added it. Do we have a zone? Hold on. Did I just double the zone? Did someone make this and I didn't know? This is the one I just made. Oh, I guess it was added to data and there wasn't anything hooked up to it. Okay, so someone did the other part for me already, which is cool. So let's do this CS zone. I'll call this customer service zone. And add one more. Cool. So those are now all in the DB. And let me get caught up on chat because I couldn't see it while you guys were doing that. Well, I was doing that anyways. Alex Onlines. Glad to hear you don't want old areas to die out like everyone else's MMO always has. Yeah, that's definitely like I said, that's something we want to try to, you know, I'm going to use the word limit. Because some places, you know, might end up getting a little bit more sparse than others as content, like depending where content gets added, but then maybe we try to balance it out over, you know, over time. So it's something we're actively thinking about as we are going to keep building the world and expanding. I mean, EQ back in the day, you poked around your starter town. Now you go to the tutorial and come out super shiny gear. Get dumped into a new zone to get to level 20 before you blink. All those other zones don't appeal because they don't have super shiny new loots. Yep, exactly. I remember how pleased I was when my enchanter had a full set of cloth. These days, they won't get out of bed for cloth. Yeah. I just wish I could find some assets with, like, the bear, rat, snake, skelly in them. It's like you're playing EQ Guesser inside M&M. Kind of. I'll have fun eventually when someone makes an M&M Guesser. Okay, so we did the first part of that. I need to now add the scenes to the project. I can remember how to do this. Oh no, I gotta search zone. That's right. Zone. Zone list. Let's make sure I didn't double this up. Okay. So I bet Sean was the one who added Ingolts, but did not add it here. But I could be wrong. How did I do this before? Assets, scenes. Oops. There we go. Okay, that's how I did it. Add in CS zone. Customer service zone. And again, I'll add it. But I know we've mentioned, like I said, we've mentioned talking about a tutorial. But doing it kind of offline, similar to like the classic EQ one. But again, I'm kind of preemptively adding that. We haven't 100% locked in if that's what route we're going to take, but I know there's a lot of people on the team that enjoyed the old EQ one, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know if that, like, how exactly we would go about doing that. If it is offline, it probably doesn't need to be in the zone list, but I'm just going to add it anyways. For now, okay. Is that everything? I think that's everything. Yeah, technically it's saying, like, the stuff we have here is like add in a nav mesh, and you can see it's clearly an old nav mesh. I wonder how long it actually takes to bake. It's probably gonna be like instant. Yep. So, and then, you know, this gives me a nice starting point, or Simon a nice starting point. Let me... Now, I'm going to leave the spline examples, or as examples. These are how we mess with the water, to get different water levels. But, okay, so I'll leave everything else in here for now. And we'll hop back into Night Harbor and start working on some buildings. And I forgot to push my zone line adjustment from last time, so I'm going to redo that real quick. How's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Shira dungeon coming along? It hasn't started yet. Well, I guess I lied. It did just start. I built a bare bones area to start off with, but there's nothing in it. Aside from, like, the basic groups we want in there when we start a zone. There we go. And we will save. No, out of ISO. Okay, so let's go finish those buildings, or attempt to. Save. Actually, let's... Before we do that, hopefully the dev server's still up. I think earlier I saw that it was down, but I don't know if it came back up yet. So I want to run around that little area real quick. Kind of get my sense of the area again. And then we'll kind of figure out what we want to do. Ooh, as I start yawning, sorry. Sorry, it takes a second to log in on the development server. Right, where am I? Oh yeah, I was taking pictures for the newsletter. And I have GM invisibility on, so let's turn that off. Should I put a door there? And for anybody who's watching, when we play in the editor, it's a little bit laggier than it is when you're playing with low population. So if you see a little bit of frames dropping or stutter or anything like that, it's because I'm playing inside the editor itself. And it is way less efficient. Okay. So we got walking down into here. I think I'm going to make this opened up a little bit more. This building's also a little high, so I'll have to bring that down. I'm sure, actually, I'll probably end up bringing both of these down. I kind of want... Probably maybe move this a little bit out and narrow up this street alleyway. All right, so definitely want to kind of taper this that way. J-Red Bingo. Lurking while working. Well, welcome to the chat. You're gonna start your Night Harbor Coffee LLC is gonna be smuggling coffee. Alright, let's Night Harbor. And we'll reload the scene. So, for anybody who's newer to the streams, Night Harbor is actually made up of multiple scenes that we load in when we go to work in them, and we just make sure when we save the sub scene, or when we're pushing our sub scenes, we only push the ones that we actually made edits to. It allows for me to work on one area, Simon to work on another area, Robert to work in the sounds. You know, we can have multiple people working in multiple sections of the city without worrying about a ton of conflicts and stuff like that. Which occasionally will still happen, but it's fairly infrequent that we ever have something like that happen. Is that Pro Builder? Yes, we are using Pro Builder for a lot of our gray box work. And then we'll be bringing it into Maya and Blender to clean up and optimize. Wow, seriously, hats off to you. I hated it. I had to get uModeler, and even then, looks like kindergarten people made it. I haven't tried uModeler. I might explore that at some point. But there are definitely things in Pro Builder that I wish were different. Primarily, the fact that I can't delete edge loops. Like, if I want to get rid of this edge loop, I have to merge it down or delete the faces and move everything down. It's so annoying. So it definitely has its limitations, but we're actually, the reason we decided to use it as a tool is the constraints that it puts on us because it's so limited actually help us hit the aesthetic we're going for a little bit easier. We don't have the temptation to kind of start over modeling stuff and getting into more modern like aesthetics, because it's so limiting. It makes it way more difficult to do that type of thing. So I had never used Pro Builder before I got on this project. The last time I had worked in Unity was, I think, like 6 years beforehand, something like that. It was like 5 or 6 years before. And Pro Builder was not really like a Unity. It wasn't a Unity owned thing. I'd never heard of it. I'm more of an Unreal user than a Unity user, to be honest. So I did not know about it, and I was basically hired to do some level designs for a graduate project. Or no, not a graduate project. It was a research project. And they just like pre-bought a bunch of assets, and then I made a dungeon and a couple other things for them to work off of. Yeah, too easy to end up spending hours tweaking stuff. Yeah, I've gotten better at working around it. Granted, this isn't perfectly optimized, but I've gotten better at knowing how to do it without sending edge loops running along everything. But some of the earlier stuff will get cleaned up more in in Maya. So like this arch is the same arch that this was made from. I just duplicated it and moved it over here. And then this one actually has more to it because there's like interiors and stuff inside of it. But this one was exported out kind of as a test. And let me grab the concept art if I can find it. So it's based off this concept that Goblin did. As I prove again, I don't know how to use a mouse. So, you know, I just kind of took this sketch and brought this into Maya. And hold on. You can see how much cleaner the geometry is compared to that. I still need to fix the trim on the arch, but and you know, 2D to 3D, there's a couple differences. I ended up having to widen it out a little bit, and you know, I gave more space between that and the edge. But you know, very, very similar in terms of design. So some of the buildings will be able to just kind of export out, bring back in as FBX, and then some of them will end up, you know, doing more design work too. Once we have it in the engine. Let me close out of the database. And bring back up chat. Looks cool, and to see it from paper to in-engine is unreal. It's a fun process for sure. There's another one that I did. It's currently just sitting over here. I don't know. This is where it's this whole area of Sageside, like from here. The granary will probably still be there. The bank will probably be close to here. But like all of this area is completely not going to like it's going to be reworked. I'm not a huge fan of it as it currently is, but this little cluster of buildings is if I can find the concept is this cluster of buildings right here. So this was all I did this a while ago. This was back in the old Shaded Dunes, when we were just kind of testing to see if we liked it. So yeah, you can see basically it's a 1-for-1, and then had to kind of figure out how an interior would work with the way it was stacked, which was a fun little challenge, and then kind of, you know, figuring out how the rest of these buildings and stuff were linked together. So, but yeah, it's definitely fun. I had at one point done the bathhouse and the bank and the inn similar to this, but stuff has changed and moved around and stuff since then. What character model would you say is your favorite so far? The ones that are in the game. I'm a big fan of the ogre. I love the way the ogre turned out. Granted, though, the ogre is still on the old system, so the ogre will be getting reworked. So, but yeah, the ogre I really liked. No, it's Unity. Hold on. Let me see. Looks cool, and to see it from paper is unreal. Oh, I get the joke now. My brain was not was not getting that. I wish it was Unreal, but that's a me thing for the most part. Although I think there are a couple of the people on the team that like Unreal. And also wish we were using it. But I mean, Unity's still a good engine. I like it because it makes my life as an artist easier. Especially with like lighting and stuff. It's just so pretty. Let's turn off the ocean. Oh, come on, because I accidentally snap Streamlabs over. The other thing with Unreal that I like is I actually know how to like program and script stuff in blueprinting. Not so much with C#. Oh, nice. Robert added the skill trainer music. I had not gotten a chance to listen to this yet. Let me turn this up a little because this is my first listening. Yeah, we took screenshots from the dunes at night of the city. It was beautiful, great lighting. Oh, thank you. That lighting is actually all temporary. It hopefully it will look better. It was like super fast, just to kind of make it feel like it was alive. The funny thing was, if you go back and watch streams from like the beginning of the year, the city itself was dark, so when you would zone in, it was pretty much dark except for a couple little lights in very commonly used areas or around campfires. The rest of the city was just like pitch black. But like you would walk out to Shaded Dunes, and because we wanted a facade, I just kind of like threw a couple of the larger buildings at the time that we had at the time in here, and then threw some lighting in there just to kind of see what it would look like lit up. And then everyone's like, "Oh my god, we need the lighting in the zone." But the lighting in the zone right now is just super temporary lighting. It's literally, I just dragged around a bunch of lights with no shadows, just so that you could actually kind of navigate and see what was going on. When we actually get to doing like a legit light pass on the zone, it's going to be an undertaking for sure. Do I want... Hey Patrick, how's it going? Sorry, as I like start zoning into Robert's music and not paying attention to chat. Oh, I guess you guys aren't really talking too much right now, which makes it a little bit easier. But I'm also not talking, so we're all just kind of listening to Robert's music. Which, let's be honest, sounds better than my voice anyways, so. Oops, apparently I wasn't holding shift. There we go. hoping the grind is similar to EQ and not like other MMOs where you're stuck questing. We definitely like the grindy, old EQ style of gaming. So we have no plans to be, you know, kind of like a more modern WoW, Lotro, like a quest hub game with a bunch of, you know, NPCs with exclamation marks above their heads and stuff like that. Because one, I mean, there's already a lot of those games out there. You know, a little bit less so when it comes to games that are a little bit more, you know, set up a camp and grind style game. Let's see a little bit like that. Okay. Kind of feeling. God. Pro Builder is so annoying at times. Kind of feeling this having a similar kind of ramp way like this one does. Essinger, thank you for 7 months. Really appreciate it. How are you doing today? Oh. You know what? I can maybe... Trying to hit the edge float a little bit better here. Doing well, thanks. Awesome. Oops. Actually delete a lot of these spaces. These are from before I moved this cliff. So this cliff didn't used to go to here, it used to only go to here. Some of this stuff is a little bit cleanup that I never did. Oops. Don't snap to that. Oops, I did not want to run that all the way up there. We'll do it this way. Just like that. And... why is that not... Alright, let's do this. There, that's better. UV editor. Another day of never-ending rain on the coast. It's been rainy here the last couple days. It's sunny right now, at least, and it looks like the ground's dried up, but it's been cold and rainy, which is driving me crazy because everywhere else in the country, even the rest of Ohio, is getting like crazy huge and large amounts of morel mushrooms right now. And I want to find some mushrooms, and the weather keeps dipping down, like, just a little low for them to start, like, growing in large numbers. And we had, like, a couple freeze alerts, and, like, every time we get close. And then it gets all screwed up. What is going on? Why? Ugh. You being dumb pro builder. I'm in the UK. I have this weekend off. So all it's done is rain. Stinking cold rain. Yeah, we went out to celebrate my dad's birthday last night, and like, after we ate at the restaurant, we were standing outside and it was pouring rain. It was so cold. I was like, Jesus, like, what happened to spring? It's May. It should be warm by now. I won't even... I would be happy with, like, mid-50s to mid-60s. That's my ideal range. But it keeps dipping down to, like, low 40s and 30s overnight. My parents get a ton of morels on their property. Not so many the last few years though. Oh, that stinks. I've found, like I said, I'm on a couple like morel groups on like Facebook, and they just because this isn't, something is off here and I don't know what it is, and it's messing it up whenever I snap. I'm about ready to just delete this building because it's going to give me a headache the entire time. But some of the mushrooms that people are pulling in this year are like one mushroom is 1 pound of morel. It's insane. And I've seen people that have just like hundreds and thousands of them. Like, I've seen people fill canoes, bathtubs with all the morels they've gotten. And some of them are just normal sized ones, but sometimes they're like the size of your fist. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely insane. But that will probably be what I'm up to tomorrow during the day, is doing a bit of mushrooming and foraging. But the couple times I've gone out already this year, I've had zero luck. Be More Gaming. Thank you for the follow. And welcome to the stream. Okay, we're going to start over in this building because that building is, for some reason, being stupid. This to be... yeah, we'll do it as an entrance from the front. So, again, I'm deleting stuff in terms of edge loops and stuff, because I'm trying to make my life easier because I can't delete edge loops. could delete edge loops, I more than likely would not be doing it that way. Pro Builder not having that ability, you have to kind of do some funky things to get it to make more efficient meshes. Granted, this isn't like the most optimized it can be, but was in the playtest and thoroughly enjoyed myself, but was curious about all the buildings in Night Harbor. Do you guys have plans for every single building that you added in the city? Like, do they all serve a purpose? So, also welcome to chat, first off. So, we wanted... There's several things that will probably be happening with a lot of these buildings. So, first off, we want to do player housing throughout our world, but we don't want to do instanced housing. So like everyone's renting the same apartment in an instance version. So we need a lot of space so that players can have the houses. So that's one of them. Also, we are building Night Harbor to have content inside the city. So granted, these aren't houses, but like over here is very, very rough. And needs to be expanded upon. But there's going to end up being like an outdoor and slightly indoor in places kind of crypt dungeon. There is actually, I think one of the newbie quests currently go here, but I think the idea is this is going to be a mid-high level dungeon, and I think it now links up to that island. Yeah. So that's going to be, this will be a dungeon complex. This is going to have kind of a dungeon to it. And also kind of hooks up. The dungeon will have more stuff going on underneath it, but it'll also link up to the fighting pit here. Just thematically, it makes sense that they would. Oh, hey, Sean. So there's all sorts of stuff going on inside the city that is like content based. So you'll be running around. There's gonna be multiple factions inside the city as well. So some areas of the city you might be friendly with. Some, you're gonna walk in there and all of a sudden the guards are gonna just jump you and you'll have to go get your corpse. So we want it to be a living, breathing kind of city feel. And as we go on, there's going to be more and more and more kind of like content kind of tucked in and underneath. There's going to be sewers, like in, under the city, throughout the city. There's kind of starting points here and there. Like if you're running around in the garrison, like this is eventually going to hook up to the sewers probably. The sewers will eventually probably link up to Wormsbane, So there's gonna be a whole bunch of like interconnectivity, higher level areas, lower level areas, and stuff like that as you go through. So yes, they will all have some kind of purpose. We haven't necessarily 100% figured out which buildings are which yet. But well, I barely explored Night Harbor. This place is huge. Yeah, it's a really, really big zone. Gedab or Gedab Bouting. I completely butchered your name. I apologize. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. And the Hebrew Hammer, thank you for the follow as well. Sean crushing our content drops. Nah, we're all blabbers. Yeah, I think we all spill beans at some point. Sean, I'm not sure if you were in here at the beginning of the stream, but I added a couple basically completely blank outdoor scenes that I'll be pushing for some for the new dungeon, the customer service zone that you asked me to build. That'll be pushed as well, and then I made one for tutorial if we actually did go that route or not. If not, we can always just delete it. So there will be some blank zones getting pushed in, and I added them to all of the database and all that needed to be added. What is fantastic is the city feels like a city. That's exactly what we're going for. There is a lot to explore and discover, and I felt like I barely scratched the surface. Got to find me a good hole in the wall. Deep Gnome restaurant. Plans on having sewers be part. Yep, definitely plans on sewers. There's also the city itself is built on the ruins of another previous civilization, so you'll be finding ruins and stuff like that in the sewer system. Okay, that's awesome. How large do you expect other race cities to be in comparison? Night Harbor will probably be one of the larger, if not the largest city in the game. It's one of the hub cities. We have a couple others planned. We'll see where the other ones land in terms of complexity and scale. You know, if we're able to expand the team, something like this might come together a little bit faster, but the racial cities themselves will be smaller by scale, definitely. You know, probably closer to like, you know, a classic EverQuest racial city in size. You know, maybe a little larger here and there, depending on what we want to do, if we want housing in that area or not. Maybe the housing options are more limited, so, you know, there's less available in some of the smaller racial cities. But we'll figure that out as we get to them. Thank you for everything in the test. I played Shammer. Oh, I remember that name. You guys are awesome. Well, thank you. Just popped in before bed. Nice. Yeah, it's getting late for you over there. Like a GM island. Awesome. Haven't started actually laying it out yet, but similar to like WoW EQ or WoW's GM island and EQ's CS home. Although I always called it Sea Shrome when I would first started playing because I didn't realize it was customer service home. Whenever I would search for GMs, I'm like, oh, they're in that Seashroom zone. Yeah, city felt real. Unlike most fantasy cities that look fantasy but never felt like they were. Well, it's awesome. I'm glad you guys are appreciating it. It's definitely been a lot of work to get it to where it currently is. I love the concept of player housing, but I wonder how can control supply and demand. I feel the demand will always outweigh the supply. Yeah, that'll be a challenge. We'll have to see how that all kind of works out. Zuka pitched the idea of an offline tutorial. It seems like a fine idea to explore. Yeah, I wasn't sure how exactly it would work, Sean. So I did add the tutorial to the database as well. I don't know how the tech side of that would end up working, but it is there if we decide and when we decide to start focusing on developing it. Currently all of the like safe locations are just zeroed out, so they're, you know, that stuff will need to be set up once we actually have the geo in there. As long as we get lizard people with underground housing, I'll be happy. You and Zukin both. Some sort of high-rise apartment building, maybe with hundreds of rooms to rent, and a teleporter that takes you to a different floor. Was CS Home the cat box? Hold on. For anybody who's never seen it, I can show you it. If I can find my link, where is it? No? Why am I not seeing? Oh, there it is. So this was... Hold on. Why is my camera being stupid all of a sudden? But yeah, this was the customer service zone. So like GMs and stuff, if you ever saw them in /who when they were in CS Home, or like I said, I used to call it Seashroom. This was the zone. And I apologize, my camera is being... I thought I could... Why is this being so slow? But... Sean can tell you more tales about this zone, because he could run around in it, but I at least know what it looks like. And then this was, I'm assuming, was a cat box at one point in time. Or I just never got the cat texture. Oh, is that what Seashroom stood for? Yeah, customer service home. It took me years to realize that's what it stood for. According to this, it was... The actual name of the zone is Sunset Home, but you wouldn't know that if you weren't able to zone into it like, you know, 99% of the people who played the game. Or 99.9% of the... percent of the people who play the game. I think the first time I ever actually saw the zone was on one of the EQ EMU servers that like auto grants you GM privileges. That was like the first thing I did, was zone into the zone because I always wanted to know what it was. And then the second thing I did was go and solo the sleeper, which took forever. Holy crap, did that take a long time. And I had a macro that was spamming death touch 5 times every time I pressed it, and it took me like 40 minutes to solo him. Remember, your wizard housing is efficient. I said that in Discord and wanted it reiterated here. But you did a great job creating a good sightline landmarks in the city to make it easier to navigate. Yeah, actually, probably not a couple months ago is when I was really starting to clean up, because the friends and family came in and there was a lot of people getting lost trying to kind of get through this portion. So yeah, it was a lot of just kind of readjusting the layout, trying to find, you know, some points of interest to kind of draw you towards them. So there's been a lot of, you know, kind of planning and readjusting when things weren't working. You know, trying to find areas with really nice like views and vistas and trying to preserve them the best we can. There's another one up here. But yeah, just trying to give, you know, nice large views of the city where you can see multiple points of interest so you can kind of orient yourself. Having larger points of interest, so like as you're around the city, if you can kind of keep that in your sight in certain areas that you can you know, use it to navigate. So there was a lot of that kind of thought going into it for sure. I don't feel like it's something people consider, and you knocked it out of the park. Oh, well, thank you. That was a very, very kind compliment. Especially the pink crystal was great for landmarking off. Well, thank you, Coach. Yeah, that was one of the more recent ones. Eventually, I wanted to be slowly rotating as well to kind of, again, help that movement just kind of pull your eye. But that one I think was key because, you know, it's visible here, and then it's visible through like a large majority of the area. It actually used to be visible through most of the newbie yard, but we had to sacrifice that to kind of move this area out a little bit, because we wanted to kind of get rid of all the buildings that were in this area. So small sacrifice there, but yeah, I think this one's really a really important one because, you know, from like here west and throughout most of the buildings, you can get to areas where you can see it, and it really helps kind of orient you. I mean, obviously there's also the ziggurat itself, but fancy pants. There's a bear in there, right? Not yet. We don't have any bears. Yep, it'll be something for us to figure out. But thanks for setting it up. Gonna lurk for a few, and then I'm gonna pop out for the night. All right, Sean. Thanks for stopping in, and have a good night. Trivia. CS Home is the zone where you can buy gnome sandwiches. I did not know that. Is that an actual trivia fact, or are we being silly? Because I legit do not know that. Was the EQ, or was that EQ world you jumped into Is it a file everyone can download? It's a website everybody can go to. Hey, I'll drop it in. It's called EQ Advanced Maps. It's a project that's I don't know who it is, but props to whoever made this. It's awesome. But yeah, you can basically go to any zone. I can't remember if Anguish is in here or if I think it's up to Gates. I don't think. Or maybe it's not loaded in yet. Some of them come in blank. Yeah, like Anguish comes in blank. So yeah, all the Plains ones are here. There's obviously some funkiness, like the table is not where it should be. There's like weird shields that should be on the wall, just kind of sitting. So like some of the stuff is spawning in and some of them in weird spots. I'm pretty sure all of Gates is in here because I know I've looked at a Gates zone. Yeah, so here's like Takvi. So, but yeah, you can do all sorts of fun stuff. There's like spawn markers and things like that. But yeah, you can just fly around and look at zones. It's been super handy. No problem. Yeah, I think it's a fairly little known resource. Simon, when he joined the team, was like, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And I was like, "What?" Because I'd been using like the old version of the Lantern viewer, I think. And like the camera in it was really kind of janky, and you couldn't set it. And it was driving me nuts. And he's like, "Oh yeah, just try this one." And I was like, "What?" So basically, it's like NoClip. If anybody is familiar with NoClip, it's basically EverQuest NoClip. And for anybody who doesn't know what NoClip is, NoClip is a site that you can, you know, go and find different games. So like if we wanted to do Final Fantasy X, we could go and find whatever zone, and it will load up that zone, and you can explore how video games are made. Which, if you are interested in getting into video game design, this is how I learned a lot of stuff. Not necessarily using NoClip, because it wasn't around back then. But breaking down and looking at how worlds are made is a huge, huge way to actually, like, learn how this stuff gets made. Because, like, you know, you look off and you're like, "Oh, look at all those trees! There's so much stuff going on," and it's just trees floating in space. You know, there's mountains over here, but there's nothing in between them because you don't see it. You're up here. All you need to see is that. You know, this over here is just a painting or a rendering. You know, however that team decided to do it. The tree tops that you can see looking down are literally just cards of treetops. So. But yeah, that whole thing down there is just a picture. But, and then, you know, all that, because the camera is never getting this high up, you can't tell. But it's a lot. Video games, environment art, especially older games, you know, older non-open world games, is a lot of smoke and mirrors to make you believe that you're seeing more than you're actually seeing, and that the area you're in is actually a lot larger than you think it is. But this one, if anybody wants this one, here, I'll put this in. Oh, come on. Just give me the... Whatever. It's gonna drop me into here because I just was in it. Here, I'll just manually type it in. There you go. But yeah, there's all sorts of games in here and stuff. You can, stuff from the Wii, from the GameCube, DS, Nintendo 64, PS2. There's it's a limited amount, but there's all sorts of different things like Half-Life, Portal, Team Fortress, Dark Souls. Team Fortress are great. If you want to get into making FPS like deathmatch zones. But some of them I will, depending on your connections, you can see this one's taking longer to load. So just be aware, sometimes no clip can take a lot longer to load stuff, I've noticed, than EQ Advanced Map. Quake maps, yeah, I think there are Quake maps in here, right? Or maybe not. Where was I looking at Quake maps? But yeah, and sometimes, again, depending on your computer and your connection, some of the stuff will take a little bit to load in. But you can also see, like, the different models, like, as they're constructing everything. But, yep. Super cool way if you're interested in environment art and level design and stuff to kind of break down pre-existing things and then see how, how are they doing this kind of stuff to work on barriers and, make it feel like there's so much going on. And again, it's, it's all tricks. It's all just drawn planes with trees and stuff like that. But when you're in here, it feels like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on out there. So, close that. And get back to making some M&M maps. But yeah, it's a great resource. I mean, I show that to students all the time, especially when they like question. When I'm like, no, delete these faces that you can't see, and they're like, why? And I'm like, because that's what you need to do. You're cutting down the poly count, but then there's a hole. I'm like, yes, there is a hole, but you'll never know it is there. Like, yes, the artist will know it's there, but then I'll like show them. I'm like, here, let's go to a zone from, or a level from this game, and fly around, and they're like, oh. I'm like, how about you look at the bottom of this box or the bottom of this barrel? And then it's like, hold it, you aren't making this up. So it from a teaching standpoint, it has been very handy. Let's see. I was a guide on P99 for a few years. Oh, nice, Brown Butcher. I did not know that. That's where you get some, or you get the gnome sandwiches and the Vorpal burrito. Yeah, I know they set up a bunch of stuff in stores on in customer service home that had stuff for guides that gave them access to things to give to players, and I think had items with like GM commands essentially on them for them. What a great website. Do they have any 2D games? I do not know, Brown Butcher, if NoClip does. I don't think so. I think it's all 3D. N64 games. Oh, and Abago71, thank you for joining the chat. I wasn't paying attention when I read your thing earlier about Quake maps. It's all big and like outlined and stuff like that, and it did not register in my head to look at why it was outlined. Field Rec, thank you for the follow, and welcome to the stream. All right, let's at least finish off this building. Patrick says, my first job in games was to take assets from from a non-physical engine and port to a physical capable engine. So I just capped all the holes on the other side of things. You were talking about, oh yeah, I can see that. Being a fun task to give to someone who's new. I don't think I actually know. Patrick, what was the first game you worked on? I know several of the titles you've worked on, but I don't know which one was the first. Or should we set this up as a teaser for your first stream? Are you still planning on doing that tonight? First title was Call of Duty 3. Oh, nice. That was one of... I think that was the one that I didn't play much of. That was the one that was on Wii, right? And it was like a Wii exclusive. I was huge into Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2 back in the day. And Call of Duty 4. I really probably at one point should have been playing tournaments, but I never did. because I was legit good at those games. Oh, nice. You are going to try to stream tonight. I'll have to hop in. For anybody who did not know, VGFX is Patrick. He's one of our artists, and he is going to be joining the M&M stream team. So, if you haven't already, hop over to his channel and throw him a follow. I also will put up a link to everybody's everybody's channels in a little bit, because my stream's almost over for the day. So tonight should be the inaugural VGFX stream. Or VGFX M&M stream, at least. I'm not sure if you streamed before. I think I set it up right. Nice. We'll see. Look at my... So, if you're worried about quality, just look at my stream. And then just be like, oh, it's way better than Paytas' stream, so I'm already going the right direction. Okay, so we'll do that. I think I might end up making this have a ramp that'll get you into one, and then it'll come up through here and get you into the other. But that will probably be done off stream, because, like I said, we're getting close to the end of mine. Don't worry, VGFX. You're gonna pull it up. You're gonna do great. Oh yeah, I'm convinced. Patrick will do fine. Again, just look back on my streams and be like, oh, I can't do worse than that. It takes some getting used to, but streaming is a lot of fun. Yeah, it definitely can be a lot of fun. The big thing that I notice is I tend to do things on stream that I know either aren't time sensitive in terms like I need to get it done now, and things that I can be distracted like during, because depending on how much engagement you get, you definitely end up moving slower on stuff. But it's a lot of fun. How many hours each time? 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, that's an awesome time window. There are definitely a few things you can build that feel like a slog or a grind, and it's nice to have company. Yep, that's also true. Then there's some things that, like, if it's something that I'm not 100% sure on, and I'm either going to be in a tutorial or reading documentation on stuff, I generally don't do that on stream, just because I read slow, being dyslexic. So being on stream and doing that type of stuff, I know is going to be boring as hell, just watching me stare at a screen, being like, in this window, like reading over something a couple times, coming back over here, making sure I'm using the right variable or whatever. So that type of stuff I tend to try not to stream, because I know it's not not going to be entertaining for you guys. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm at the end of my normal streaming window, and I'm kind of in a transition from the one shape to the next. So I'm gonna use this as a cutoff period for this stream. Let me save, and we will update the nav mesh while we wait. So this is actually, if anybody is newer to the streams, this is our nav mesh. This is what NPCs use to navigate. The blue is what they're actually navigating to, and then the pinkish is the height map, and it's just for more accurate placement of like IK animations and stuff like that. As far as I'm more of an Unreal guy, but from my understanding, that's what it's used for. So we'll bake that, and I will do my normal end of stream stuff. And see here, quality. My stupid chat bot decided to shut itself off again. There we go. I was literally in here the other day and made sure that was on. And then it just shut itself off. This is one of the reasons why I am probably transitioning from Streamlabs to OBS. Oh, excuse me. After work gets out. But we are, for anybody who's new and isn't aware what I've been talking about for the last 2 hours, we are making an EDMMO titled Monsters and Memories. Let me save. And that is our website. Check it out. It's got all sorts of information about the game. Lots of updates and stuff like that, so you can kind of follow along with the progress. We're very open to development and very influenced by that kind of classic first generation of MMOs. So think late 90s, early 2000s, games like EverQuest, Ultima Online, Asheron's Call, RuneScape, that era of you know, classic MMOs. If you haven't already, feel free to hop into our Discord. We've got a very active, very large community at this point. I think we're closing in on 4,000 now. Last week's stress test, the Discord just exploded. Because I think we were closing in on like 2,400. And now we're like closing in on 4,000. I think we're at 27 or 3,700, something like that. Which is awesome. It's always fun to see new people and hear new ideas and hear, you know, new stories and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a pretty cool community. We rarely have any issues and stuff like that. So, feel free to hop in there. We're all pretty good at answering questions, so feel free to ask us anything, and, you know, we'll let you know. This is our newsletter if you want to keep up to date with where the game is going. If you're interested in getting in on future tests, those are the two things that you want to make sure you join: the Discord and the mailing list. That's where a lot of those announcements will come from, or will be, you know, not come from, but be sent out via. So make sure you're on there. These are the other members of the team that are streaming. So if you haven't already, give them a follow. We also have a YouTube channel that has all of our past VODs on there. So if you'd like to kind of go back in time and kind of watch from the beginning, or just kind of pick and choose different parts to get caught up on, that is where you would do that. If you are on YouTube, please remember to like, subscribe, comment below, click the bell, all that fun stuff. The more engagement we get with those metrics, the more likely the YouTube algorithm, if I could speak, would push M&M content to people that like classic MMOs and things like that. So takes a couple seconds. We really appreciate it. It is the one of the biggest ways you can help us out right now. We are not taking any donations or crowdfunding or anything like that. That is the best way you can help the project, is help us spread the word of the game, and you know, help it get out there. It's been really growing lately. Like, again, we're noticing it in all of our metrics. Discord, our web statistics are off the charts. You know, we had really nice turnout during the stress test. So keep doing what you guys are doing. It's been very helpful. We really, really appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube and you'd like to join in on my live chats, there should be a link below to my Twitch channel, Paytas the Ranger. If you click on the link and then follow the channel, you'll get a notification whenever I go live. If you are in Discord, you can also opt into streaming notifications, and when anybody on the team that streams goes live, you should get a notification in Discord as well. My streams currently, and for at least the next week, are Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After next week, I'm going to kind of reassess, because my my day job is winding down for the school year. I teach game design, for anybody who doesn't know that. So when the semester ends, I'm going to try to add a third day. I might not stream 3 days every week, but I want to add at least a third day. A third time slot, and I may move my time slots around just to kind of better, you know, I'm not tied to a work schedule. I can be a little bit more picky and choosy where I go, and, you know, not overlap with everybody else's streaming. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you very much to all my subscribers. I think I updated it. Yes, I did. Thank you to all my subscribers. You guys rock. I will catch you guys next time. Later, guys.